Technical difficulty this morning. We're ready to go here with Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Things like that happen. We worked our way through it. Yep. I'm in Montgomery. Barry, I'm not real sure where you are today, but I believe it's somewhere in Arkansas.
It's a Hyatt, I think,
okay.
in Fayetteville, Arkansas, on the north side. You had to go 10.5 hours drive yesterday, and then you had to go through Fayetteville to get to the other side. We got Troy basketball tonight. The Trojans against the Arkansas Razorbacks, 7 o'clock tonight. I've got the radio play-by-play call right here. Looking forward to it. Troy is 2-0. Arkansas is 1-1 under new head coach John Calipari. So really looking forward to this one tonight, and then heading back tomorrow. I'll do the show here in Fayetteville tomorrow morning, and then heading back. And then Friday we are at Stivers in Montgomery.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And then I'm hopping on a ride to Statesboro, Georgia, Friday morning for football on Saturday. So it's a busy time of year.
Yes. It certainly is, and that's why we love it this time of year.
No doubt.
A lot of football, a lot of basketball. There's a lot going on, and certainly we're here to talk all about it. The chat room is buzzing today, our River Region Straw chat room. We're certainly happy about that. Good morning to everybody. Hello. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Of course, Longshore and McKnight, part of the Yellowhammer News Network, and we certainly are thrilled about our association with those good people at Yellowhammer News. As a matter of fact, one of the representatives, our friend CJ Duncan, who is one of their sports guys there at Yellowhammer News, is going to join us later today around 8:30. Looking forward to talking to CJ and get some of his thoughts about what's going on in the world of sports. Of course, he's a former college football player himself in the SEC with the Vanderbilt Commodores.
Yep, it's going to be good talking with him. We've got a lot of football to talk today. As always, not real sure what's on the Victoryland 777 topic line. Sometimes it's topical about what's happening right now. Sometimes it's just something off the top of our head or something that's just been bugging John, like Greg Byrne not listening to him or something like that. So this may all be on there, but there was definitely college basketball last night. We mentioned the ESPN doubleheader yesterday, sandwiched around the college football playoff. We're going to talk a lot about all three of those things. Kansas beats Michigan State 77-69. Kentucky beats Duke. Duke had a 9-point second half lead, couldn't hold it.
Unbelievable.
Oh, their phenom freshman turned it over twice in the final minute, and that kind of sealed it for Kentucky. Great game, though. Great.
So I'm wondering, is it like written in stone? Written in stone? Is it got to be those four teams every year? I mean, I'm looking at the games last night, and I'm thinking, these four teams playing this thing every year. Let's mix it up. How about a little variety? Let somebody else get in on the fun. And I know what you're saying. Wait a minute. This is coming from the same guy that says, wait a minute. There's really only about 8 really good college football teams.
And John's being charitable with 8. He's saying, I'll say 8, but really, in my heart of hearts, I know it's about 3 or 4. So, I would like to see there's, those are blue bloods, of course. And, they're great facilities and all that kind of stuff. So looking forward to talking those out. Now, in college basketball tonight, we mentioned the Troy Trojans are playing against Arkansas tonight. Also tonight, the Auburn Tigers are back in action. They don't have to travel, so you don't have to worry about any of that. They just go, straight from home to the arena. I don't know if certain 2 players are going to play, but Auburn will host Kent State tonight at 7 o'clock. Cal and Vanderbilt in the SEC from Nashville. I wonder if Gurn Jr. is going to that. Number 11, Tennessee, hosting the Montana Grizzlies tonight in SEC basketball.
Yeah, there's a lot of good games. So, Barry, I'm wondering about and I get it. It's a sensitive subject. Bruce Pearl, I guess, has handled it the best way he can. These 2 young men, I understand, are back in class. They're back at practice. We still don't really know what happened. I mean, we're told there was some torn clothing and some blood. Sounds pretty serious to me. But maybe due to FAA regulations or an investigation going on. I mean, I don't know that. It just kind of seems that way because they're not giving us a lot of info about how
Yeah.
it started, how they stopped it, what actually, there again, and we don't want an elbow going through a window and somebody getting sucked through the plane, but they're not a lot of details about what actually happened. We just know it happened soon after takeoff, and the pilot was calling the control tower about 5 minutes in the flight.
Brian Matthews said the flight attendant was really panicky. And she should be. There's a lot of big guys out there, and that they just routed them back, took those two guys off. Brian Matthews yesterday, when he visited with us from auburnsports.com, made it seem like one of those guys, the freshman kid, may have been the instigator. You remember in Goodfellas, a little out of line there, maybe something like
guy. He's a funny guy.
Exactly. I don't think it ended up like that, though, in the trunk with the lights on in the forest or anything. But it seems as though, one of the guys is a true freshman. One of the guys is a senior who ought to know better. He ought to know better anyway.
Sure,
but
you ought to know better.
I don't. As far as access to information, not sure there's going to be a lot. Auburn's going to handle it internally. It was a closed environment. There's not going to be a lot of bystanders. I doubt, at least I hope, that none of the Auburn players was filming anything, with the camera instead of breaking it up or something like that.
I thought about that, Barry. Yeah.
It's the first time we've mentioned Auburn and the word filming without somebody bringing up Jarquez Hunter. But
here it comes on the chat room. I can see it.
Here we
go. Here it comes. It's coming on the chat room.
But unless there's something coming from the FAA, which there's usually not, the best kind of stuff from airlines is when passengers are filming other passengers.
Oh, yeah.
Look at this guy. He's sitting there right next to me. He's barefooted. He's got his feet sticking up, or,
come on.
Fights, or, all that kind of stuff.
Or how about the person that takes forever in the lavatory? Why do they call it lavatories on planes? But it's restrooms in the airport.
And it's a head on a cruise ship or something like that.
You're over there going, buddy, what are you doing in there? Let's go. Come on.
Yeah.
We got a line out here. You mentioned the flight attendant panicking. I've flown a lot. You've flown a lot. I'm trying to think of a time that a flight attendant panicked when I was on a flight. And the only time I can remember, I was with a group of my buddies. We were heading out to California, and the flight attendant came back to us and said, "We've run out of vodka." And everybody went, "What? What do you mean you ran out of vodka? Are you kidding me?"
It's like that scene in Airplane where where Elaine says, "Does anybody know how to fly a plane?" That kind of a deal.
Yeah. So when the flight attendant's panicking, that's not a good sign. You don't want to see that. But anyway, they went to Houston and took care of business. So at least they got a win out of the deal.
Plus, in a little bit, when we come back from this break, we'll go over the college football playoff. A couple of surprises for me, a couple of pleasant surprises, and obviously it doesn't mean anything right now. 10 jillion things can happen between now and then, but it does give you kind of a barometer in exactly what they're thinking, where things are headed anyway.
I'm telling you, I think the eye test is still a big part of it. You are kind of picking up how they're thinking a little bit. Really want to get into that today as well. From what I understand, Barry, we have a lot on the wheel today. So we're going to be busy because we got a lot going on. Brent Vinson from Phoenix Physical Therapy is going to join us at the bottom of the hour. We're just going to go ahead and tell you right now, we're going to talk about groin injuries today. Ooh, yeah. I feel you. Yeah. But something that we need to find out about. Basketball season's here, the most common basketball injuries with male and female basketball players. We'll talk about that. Try to get a little maybe insight on Q Robinson's injury at Alabama, out for the year, what that possibly could be. So we got a lot going on with Brent at the bottom of the hour.
We also love to hear from you. Great to have you on our River Region Straw chat line as well. He's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. Presented by, or rather in conjunction with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Shopping for a budget-friendly, reliable used car, or maybe a stunning new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram? Well, in Prattville, it's always a process that starts with the team of professionals from Stiver CDJR. Thanks to years of experience helping others in the local community enjoy premium service, low prices, and access to a wealth of amazing new and used cars, it's safe to say that Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is the name to beat in Prattville. But hey, just don't take my word for it. Experience the Stivers difference for yourself. Prices that will not be beat, a huge inventory, and knowledgeable, helpful sales associates. See why so many happy car and truck buyers shop at Stivers CDJR, where price spells cars and trucks on Cobbs Ford Road in Prattville.
Hi, this is Benji with Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry. Guys, this is the time to shop. The holidays will be here before you know it. Our cases are slam full, so take advantage and lay away for Christmas now. We have a full repair shop and design shop, so if you dream it, we can make it for her. And if you need any repairs, we have an in-house master jeweler. At Marguerite's, we make it. We really make it. At Marguerite's, we are open 7 days a week. Come see us at the Preparatory Shopping Center, 8163 Vaughn Road, Montgomery, Alabama, right by Chappie's.
Dixie Electric Plumbing and Air rallies for you. No matter the problem, Dixie will tackle it. Their licensed and trusted electricians, plumbers, air and garage door technicians are ready to win for you. From toilets to garbage disposals, circuit breakers to HVAC systems, Dixie never fumbles. Don't throw away your hard-earned money on second-string contracting companies. Score big with Dixie. After all, they are your biggest fan. Visit calldixie.com or dial them up locally at 262-2946.
The Destin Connection Seafood Market offers the freshest seafood direct from the Gulf of Mexico with deliveries daily. Snapper, grouper, pompano, flounder, copia, along with medium, large, and jumbo shrimp, hand-picked crab meat, and chucked oysters. They can even cook your order for easy, quick pickup. The Destin Connection can make a po' boy with any of their seafood items that folks in New Orleans rave about. Go by and see them at 3750 Norman Bridge Road or call 288-4272 for pickup orders.
Alrighty, welcome back in, everybody, on this Wednesday, Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Man, we got a lot on the docket today. And, you mentioned, Barry, as we went to break, they released their latest college football playoff. Is it a ranking? Is it a bracket? How do they describe that? I want to say it's just a bracket.
This is the official release that we get from there. Contact Brett Daniels. Brett Daniels, I think, is the new Bill Hancock. I'm not sure. College football playoff selection committee rankings. Which this is what they call it, the whole thing. It's not just the college football playoff rankings, it's the selection committee. Games played through Saturday, November 9th. Here are a couple of the high points. Alabama, big win over LSU. LSU drops to number 22. Ooh. They're out. But Alabama only moves up one spot. Didn't you say something about that yesterday, that the word on the street had been that they're going to move up, but not very much?
There's not a lot of wiggle room. There's a lot of logs that are kind of jammed up together there.
Yeah. Okay.
I think over the next couple of weeks, I mean, if Alabama continues to win, certainly they've got the avenue to move up. And there again, there's a lot we're going to talk about. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but yeah, you're right. Just one spot. And that doesn't really surprise me.
It does me. It really does. Alabama has got Mercer left. They're at Oklahoma, and then they host Auburn. Here's the deal: is they're not going to have enough juice to move up where they are going to escape a first round bye.
Yeah, so
unless they win the number 10.
Okay, yeah.
And again, these are rankings; these will not be seedings. Because, again, the top four are the conference champions, regardless of what the record is or the seeding is and all that. So, they're not going to have enough oomph to get they're going to have – unless they win the conference championship, you're not going to get a first-round bye anyway, really.
Well, okay, I'm trying to look and think of the teams that are ahead of them. Obviously,
Oregon's one.
Oregon, Ohio State, Indiana –
Here it is. 1 is Oregon, 2 is Ohio State, 3 is Texas,
Okay.
4 is Penn State. Indiana is 5, despite being, like Oregon, the only 10-0 teams in the country. Indiana's on the outside, and to make it worse for Indiana, they're on the outside with 2 Big Ten teams ahead of them who have already lost.
Yeah. So what's that tell you right there? If Indiana loses to Ohio State, just loses, what does it do to them? If they lose big, that eye test element, what does that do to them? So I think Indiana's really got to win out. I think they're on some thin ice there in terms of they make the playoff, just where they'll be slotted. I think they can move down.
But here's
Oregon, Ohio State. Okay.
Here's the thing about it. If you take a look at
it, if A&M beats Texas, where do they go?
A&M is number 15 right now. They've only lost 2, playing better lately. Not this South Carolina game. The interesting thing, the thing that most of the national people are focusing on about this, is that your top 5 teams, 4 of them are from the Big Ten.
Mm-hmm.
Oregon 1, Ohio State 2, Texas out of the SEC, then Penn State, Indiana. People, saying, who does the Big Ten think they are? The SEC? I mean, 4 of the top 5 are out of the Big Ten. So you got to know they're going to settle things themselves. But still, there's still not a whole lot of love for the SEC or anybody else.
I still see a path, though, that let's just take Alabama, for instance. If they went out,
right?
I can see some teams ahead of them, some shuffling there, and I could see them maybe slipping into that 8 spot, which would get you a home playoff game, so to speak.
John, that's about as high as I see them getting.
I think so, too.
Unless they win the championship. They're either going to be top 4 or they're going to be 8.
Based on their resume, I think they'd be the highest 2-loss team if they went out. And they're going to get a little help. I think some things are going to shake out in the Big Ten. I love the Indiana story, but I can just see Ohio State bringing Indiana back to reality, beating them by a couple of scores and getting
them in Columbus.
Getting them down the pecking order a little bit. The Texas A&M game, I think, could be very interesting on rivalry weekend. I mean, Tennessee, Georgia this week, I think could have something to say about it. And that goes into really another subject we're going to get into later today about the SEC championship game and how that's all could play out in a couple of weeks as well. But I will say this. I mean, you've known me for a long time. When I saw the bracket revealed and they had Alabama going to Bloomington, Indiana, I mean, I just had to laugh. I mean, really? I mean, how soon can they get there? I mean,
you don't want any of Memorial Stadium in Bloomington. I was there summer before last. Again, my sister Ginny is a professor at Indiana University. She is a 2-time graduate of the University of Alabama, and she loves them both. Her husband, Grant, my brother-in-law, is an instructor at Indiana University, and he's a native Indiana. So the Signetti's got him playing tough. I don't know. Yeah. Here's what I think would be, and all the storylines. DeBoer used to be an assistant coach at Alabama. Kane Womack used to be, at Indiana. Mm-hmm. Kane Womack used to be an assistant coach at Indiana. There's all these storylines and stuff. I would love to see that game anyway, just because of, personal impact and all that.
Yeah.
But man, it would be good for Indiana to beat Alabama.
Well, I'm sure
didn't they do that in 1976 in basketball and sent the Tide packing with Mule King and Leon Douglas
Bobby
and
Knight
all that?
Said it was the toughest game they played the entire year. It was a 101-100 final, I believe, in that game. And Indiana went on to win the national title that year.
Indiana went 32-0 that year.
That's right.
That was the toughest one they had. That was the closest game they had all season long. Just saying.
I got to tell you, Barry, when this 12-team playoff was revealed and how it was going to play out and all this type stuff, I don't think there were many people out there that thought, you know what? I believe Bama will be in Bloomington, Indiana to play a playoff game in the first year of the college football playoff. I don't think people were thinking that. That's kind of cool, kind of interesting, kind of different. I got to tell you, I mean, I don't want this to come across as snobbish.
Here we go. It will.
But that's really not the first place I think Bama wants to play. If you're going on the road, I mean, is South Bend not available?
You'll take whatever they tell you to take. You know, Bama fans, it's not like, well, certainly we wouldn't enjoy going there. But
isn't that how Coach Bryant used to do it? I mean,
please, you know, Bama fan, if this team had to go to Boise, Idaho, you ought to be thankful. You ought to drop to a knee and praise your creator for that one. Yeah.
Well, hopefully even things are going to shake out a little bit better over the next couple of weeks. I mean, Bloomington sounds all fun. Yeah, whatever. And if you got to go, if that's what you're left with. So
it's a great town. Yeah.
How far is Bloomington from South Bend? Just curious, asking for a friend.
2.5 hours, something like that.
Just let's go up the road a little bit. We're good. Yeah. I like
Bloomington's about 10 times nicer a town than South Bend. I can tell you that much. Well, that's the selection committee rankings are out. It's the second one. The games played through last Saturday.
Yeah.
It will continue on and continue on. But again, you keep winning, you improve your chances. That's for sure.
That's what they say. Yeah. And we're going to go with this a little bit deeper. I have a feeling there's a part on the Victoryland 777 topic wheel dealing with this subject. So we'll get to that in just a minute. What do you say we take a quick break? Brent Vinson from Phoenix Physical Therapy is going to join us here as they do throughout the football season on Wednesdays. And we'll talk some injuries. We'll talk some how you can get them rehabbed with our good friends at Phoenix Physical Therapy.
That's coming up on Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Enjoy all the food, drink, fun, and winning at Victoryland. An elevated entertainment value, the best overall casino experience, and the highest jackpot payouts makes Victoryland the place to be. Go to Victoryland.com to find out more about their incredible giveaways, daily promotions, and free play opportunities. 777 Casino, simulcast thoroughbred, and greyhound racing are all within a short drive from anywhere in the Southeast. Victoryland, I-85, Exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. At Victoryland, you can be a winner too.
Some days you hit snooze, but not today. Today you have to go on a run to get burgers for the tailgate. You've got to haul something heavy, a cooler stocked with Bud Light. When you've got beer and football, nothing is hard. Until the other team scores. Bud Light. Easy to drink. Easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus. Copyright 2024. Anheuser-Busch. Bud Light Beer. St. Louis, Missouri.
Phoenix Physical Therapy is ready to help patients recover, recharge, and rise. They develop a customized therapy plan for each patient to get them back to enjoying their favorite activities. Their experienced team is committed to providing exceptional care in a professional environment. Whether you're looking to prevent or treat an injury, recover from a recent illness, or recuperate from surgery, schedule an appointment with our clinic and take advantage of our physical therapy, athletic training, workers' comp, and employer solutions service. Experience elevated physical therapy today. Call Phoenix Physical Therapy at 239-9316. That's 239-9316.
All righty, we're back at it here on a Wednesday. And Barry, our good friend Brent Vinson, he is with Phoenix Physical Therapy in their Wetumpka location. He joins us here today. We got high school football playoffs in full swing. We got high school basketball going as well. There are a lot of activities out there that I know Brent and his team are dealing with. Hey, Brent, good morning. How are you today?
I'm doing well, guys. Definitely a busy time of year as football wraps up and those winter sports kick off. So fun time for us clinically, but also out in our communities taking care of our student athletes. It's definitely a fun time of the year.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the end of the football season. Do you see more as they get into game 13 and 14 and more injuries related to fatigue or wear and tear among high school athletes, Brent?
Sometimes you do. This is body's been beaten up a little bit this year, but honestly, at this time of the year, a lot of those guys just find a second gear, and they don't want to come off the field, and they want to work hard, and they're going to push through things, and you have to pretty much drag them off there to get them off, and it's definitely you have those normal wear and tear things, those breakdowns of the body, but most time it's you just go to game by game by game. So,
Brent, kind of a sensitive area, a complex area. There's a lot going on in that area, but groin pulls are something that, well, people just deal with, and it's right up there, that upper part of that leg. And man, I've had groin pulls before, and man, they can really hurt. They're uncomfortable. I know you see them in all sports. You see them in football as well. What's the story with groin pulls? How do you rehab them? How do you get them feeling better?
Well, obviously any part of the lower, when you hear a lot of times when you hear that sideline report that says a lower body injury, that's kind of the common terminology now. They don't want to release too much information. A lot of times that lower body injury is sort of a upper hamstring, inside of thigh, sort of groin area, even sort of a proximal quad, which is up there where your quad muscle in your front of your thigh attaches to your hip and pelvis. Those like you said, John, those muscles are very strong, and they can be strained easily when you're striding, stretching. I know, flashback to circa 1996, one of my first injuries that got me in the clinic when I was playing at Jeff Davis. Go Vols! But it's one of the first clinics was a upper thigh groin injury. We were blocking at practice one day, preparing for playoffs. Got rolled up on. And got pushed sort of over the pile a little bit at the end, and one leg stayed planted, the other leg kind of went up, and there I went like a tree. And so that kind of was, one, very painful, but two, sort of demonstrated to me the need for flexibility and stretching ahead of time to help prevent those things.
They call those periods, you're blocking. John, were you ever in a blocking period whenever you were at JD? I mean, was that ever a thing? I couldn't imagine John said, okay, next 15 minutes, we gotta work on our blocking.
Yeah, that was, even though I was way down the depth chart in the quarterback room, I knew we weren't going to be blocking or tackling for that matter. So I stayed in that quarterback room. And usually when there was a blocking drill, I was the guy standing behind those big linemen. And when they would come off after the Oklahoma drill, I'd look at one of them and go, "You gonna take that? I mean, really? I mean, that guy got the better of you. Come on."
Yes, exactly.
It is, like John said, it is a sensitive area. It's a private area, and people sometimes giggle about it when you talk about the groin or groin pulls or something like that. If somebody has a standard groin pull that is frequent to playing football, what do you do?
Well, obviously this time of year we see a lot. You have those injuries in football, but even as you transition into basketball, with a lot of lateral movements and a lot of sliding drills and a lot of, that's where you start seeing more of those. Than you do in football. Football, you'll see it. I always tell my athletes, once you pull it, once you strain it, I can't unstrain it. So, you have to sort of manage it. And obviously, from a flexibility standpoint, you want to show this athlete or even patient in general, it could be any of us, sort of how to stretch it, how to target it, how to work on promoting that healing response. Just like a hamstring strain, you're going to treat it the same way. It's a musculoskeletal injury. But unfortunately, once it kind of happens, it can be very debilitating and can linger, especially if you're playing a sport that requires those movements that kind of got you in that place in the first place. But we don't treat it any differently than you would any other injury. But this time of year we start seeing a lot with, just because basketball particularly has a lot. I was at a middle school basketball game last night covering, and the change in pace, the way the athletes move now, the speed of the game. You had half court sets and everybody moves slow and it all worked through the center. That doesn't happen anymore. So now they're changing directions quickly. Some of that happens with training because they're practicing that way. Guys and girls both. There's less. Their body gets conditioned to that change in direction without hurting. But it always happens. You never have. But you just want to make sure you prepare any time with flexibility, but also treat it on the backside.
All right. I'll be the one. John and I have been drawing short straws, see who has to ask this question, and I'll be the one. girls can get groin pulls too, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Because honestly,
and that's a great way to put it, Barry, because it really defines the groin area we're talking about. I think people think of something else, but you're right, man. The way you described it, it's that upper hamstring, kind of where the leg meets the hip.
Yeah, exactly. It's your, you have your hamstring group in the back, your quad group in the front, and then you have your adductors on the inside, and those muscles all work together sort of support the leg. But they, like you said, John, they go from the knee all the way up to where your pelvis is. And that's really what gets hurt. It's just those muscles that strain. Honestly, they can be very, very debilitating. Mostly because when you move forward to backwards or sideways, those muscles are stretched and tense, activated. So when you hurt that muscle, it can linger. Now, a lot of times what happens is if you have a young adolescent athlete, that's anywhere from, 12 to 16, 18 years old, a lot of times the muscle itself is stronger than the attachment place. And you can actually have an avulsion injury where I know last football season we had a young kid hip injury. He's a middle school football player on this show who had an avulsion injury to that area because the muscle was stronger than where it attaches to because they're still developing and growing. So that's why when the athletes have a groin injury, we want to get looked at clinically to make sure we don't have some kind of avulsion fracture because the bone can be soft and it can pull off. Because you see, I know I had a guy at Bama when I was there who had an avulsion type injury there, and his pelvic pubic symphysis injury, which is kind of happens sometimes with sports hernias and stuff like that. But those things can kind of pop up. So when you have a younger athlete, you want to make sure if it's very intense, very painful, just get some imaging on it to make sure you don't have some kind of avulsion fracture as well as a muscle strain.
So we've had somebody ask us in our River Region Straw chat line, is it heat or is it cold for comfort on a groin area? Because there again, you get a little heat on it, maybe some atomic bomb or something. You got to be real careful it doesn't get somewhere else.
Well, yeah, exactly. And so honestly, my rule of thumb is always, just like
Barry's eyes start watering.
Exactly. When an injury first happens, I always say, hey, ice for the first 24 to 48, and then you can shift it to heat or ice depending on comfort. But also you want to kind of promote that active recovery process. And so when you get, an injury, obviously, if you're, just, heat or ice, you're fine. Obviously, I'm not a big fan of those balms, you used to use back in the day. I think there's some benefit to those, but, I think that was some faulty thinking, old school, you're a lot of times you had your old sort of team medic who was named Doc, who had no medical experience. He would always bring in this big tub of atomic bomb or some kind of thing, and you just like lather it on there. And,
it was like a community tub of it. You stuck your fingers in there.
Wherever everybody had.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, atomic bomb and salt tablets, and that was what everybody had back in the day. So so those are things that but heat or ice, cold pack, really ice right away for the first 24 to 48 hours, and then you can kind of shift if you want to some heat, and then start some active movement to kind of get things moving good.
Mm-hmm. Brent Vinson is with us, Facility Director, Phoenix Physical Therapy in the Wetumpka office. Brent, as we make the transition from football to basketball, for a lot of players making that transition as well, the subject always comes up about specialization among young athletes, that here they are, they've been working for football, and they just got to keep going, and now it's different muscle groups and different skill sets for basketball. How do you feel about young people whose bodies are still forming and still maturing, playing different sports?
I'm a big fan of diversification. I think this time of year when football finishes, I think you can continue to still work on your football skills. A lot of guys are doing camps. A lot of guys are doing some, quarterback stuff, more, football specific activities. But I think, if you're good at a sport, shift over to basketball. If you're, if you want to shift over to wrestling, for guys, obviously with volleyball players, as volleyball season is done now, shifting into basketball is good. I think shifting into, pre-softball, or even doing some indoor-outdoor track, those are things that kind of allow your body to rest the sport you've been playing in and add in some extra skill sets that make you better at that sport. Offensive linemen make really good wrestlers. And so, if you're 280, you may not play basketball, but you can definitely wrestle, and it's going to help you stay in shape, keep your conditioning good. And all coaches need extra heavyweight guys, those big guys, and it helps with balance and footwork, stability. But even especially basketball, if you're a skilled guy and you just go, if you're good at basketball or even decent, it keeps you in shape. It works your cardio. Y'all know indoor breathing is a lot harder than outdoor breathing. When you're running on that court, trying to find your breath, you may be in the best shape of your life leaving that grass. And you go to the court and you can't breathe a lick because it's hard. So it's different, and it works different muscle groups in your arms and legs and trunk. And also, I think it just kind of gives your brain a break from the grind of football to shift to the basketball.
Brent, I wanted to get your thoughts. Alabama had a player down in Baton Rouge that was injured. Q Robinson, great defensive player. We hear it's an upper body injury. It looks like some type of arm injury. They're not really being real specific. But just, I guess just ballpark, what kind of arm or upper body injury could keep you out for the rest of the year?
Well, obviously, it's probably some kind of either elbow issue with his arm, it could be like a UCL. Honestly, it could be some kind of fracture. If it's a fracture situation or something that requires, intervention that way, that could be a lengthy recovery. And with the season being kind of short, it may just be easier for them to kind of declare him out versus being, in the way he was holding his arm on the field. He definitely was concerned about, what was kind of going on. And, the fact that they were kind of discussing x-rays right away as far as on sideline x-rays, I haven't kind of dug into it because, most time, circle of concern, circle of control. And I can't control it, but I'm not really concerned about it because he's, if he's my brother or my family, I'd be all about it. But he's a collegiate athlete, so I haven't really dug into what may be going on, but I'm suspecting probably something that requires either surgery that is just hard to recover from because of his position he plays.
Yep.
Brent, I know this is not just a sports medicine topic or a rehabilitation topic, but you used to see sideline reporters years ago that would say, "Oh, so and so he hurt his knee, he'll be out," or "So and so looks like he's got a contusion on his thigh," or something like that. Now it's all upper body injury, lower body injury, and they keep citing HIPAA. A lot of people are saying, "What in the world is HIPAA?"
Yeah.
What does it have to do? Can you speak to that?
I can, yeah, definitely. So HIPAA is it's a privacy act, it's privacy policy, which pretty much says, someone it's against the law for me to share medical information with somebody else. And kind of going back to what you said, used to be, the sideline reporter would pretty much tell the nation, what was going on with this athlete, and that's why you see your coaches at press conference say, I hadn't talked to, Jeff Allen yet at Bama or the head athlete trainer at Auburn. And, I'll know more. And once they kind of release that information or allow them to release it, they can't just say, hey, this guy has if it's a significant thing, like it kind of, there's gray areas there. But they kind of have to be very vague, because of HIPAA, and because obviously if they were to release an information that was untrue, then obviously there could be a lawsuit on the backside. There could be some kind of legal action because, even though because once it's said, it can't be unsaid. And so you have to be cautious. Like I can't talk in the middle of my gym to other patients about what's going on with Miss Jones over here without her giving consent. And so I definitely and that's why you start seeing these sideline tents pop up. We used to have we called it the athletic trainer wall. If we had an injury on the field back when you were on the sidelines, particularly these stadiums where you're right on the stands, having some players or people stand around you while I'm talking or having a conversation with an athlete, there's nothing worse than telling a kid he's torn his ACL in front of the entire crowd with no privacy. I used to, when I was going to Bama games as a child, I brought my binoculars with me and I would look on the sidelines and watch the guys come off. I remember when Vinny Sinceri tore his ACL and Doc told him on the sidelines, I was watching it through my binoculars and saw him punch the table because he was mad. And he was crying on the sidelines because he tore his ACL.
It's a very,
So those kind of things are private. And you don't want a sideline reporter telling something that's not true, even though they're doing their best job to get the information, but they may not know. And you don't want to tell the nation about a injury or a medical issue without consent.
Yeah, I certainly understand that. Yep, we all do.
Go.
And I tell you, it's heating up. I mean, we got high school playoffs. Yeah. We got things getting down to crunch time in college football. Basketball is underway. We're going to talk a little basketball next week. With that popping up with the males and the females and some common injuries there. But Brent, before we let you go, let our viewers, let our listeners know where they can find you. I know you're in the Wetumpka location, but there are locations of Phoenix Physical Therapy all over Central Alabama.
That's right, John. We definitely have clinics in pretty much every community around the river region, from Wetumpka to Prattville to Montgomery, Auburn, Selma, Troy, Prattville, Greenville, anywhere those communities we're located, and we're definitely ready and willing to answer questions, be a resource to provide physical therapy and sports medicine needs. We have athlete trainers that are covering schools this time of year. You'll see our tents and see our people out there working hard to take care of our student athletes. As the season shifts, now they're getting into the gym, which the weather's better inside, so they're happy about that. But definitely, we love taking care of our communities. We're blessed to be able to do what we do. And it's for a long time. So looking forward to talking to people that call our clinics looking for resources and answers. And that definitely anybody can call the Wetumpka office. 334-478-3543 is my number. Call and ask for me, and I'd love to talk to people and give them an answer if I can.
This is wonderful stuff, Brent. Thank you so much for the time.
Awesome. Thank y'all, guys, as always.
All right, buddy. Thank you so much, Brent Benson, Phoenix Physical Therapy, the Wetumpka location. Always appreciate Brent and all of his knowledge. Man, we got some great chats coming in today. Also, Bear, we're already getting Dreamland Pick 3s. They're already in. Terrence has already sent his in. We really appreciate that. You can get yours in as well. Some people like to do it early. Some people like to do it right before kickoff. Not a problem. You just have to have your picks in before your first game kicks off. It's that simple, and we always appreciate people doing that. Also, and just a little FYI, because I think Joe was trying to be funny here, but I've actually got the answer.
Okay. All right.
Joe asked a question about those pills that help you do something else for men.
Right. Yeah.
I think they're called ED drugs or whatnot. And he asked the questions, what happens if, you can't get it to stop working? It just keeps working and working.
Right. Yeah.
And it's interesting that he brought that up, Barry, because after I had my prostate surgery, they actually put that on me. It's part of your rehab for a couple of weeks because they want to make sure everything's working correctly and whatnot.
Right.
But I found it interesting for any of our men out there. If you ever have an issue with that, I never did, but take Benadryl. That's what reverses the effects of a Viagra or a Cialis. If you take too much and you can't get, what was that disclaimer, Barry? If it stays that way for like 6 hours, consult your doctor.
Uh-huh.
All they're going to tell you to do is take Benadryl because Benadryl reverses the effects. I
know a couple of pictures of prominent female public figures that could. Well, anyway, I remember because that was an issue. That was an issue whenever I think it was Viagra first started sponsoring a NASCAR car, and it was a big deal and everything, but they had to stop sponsoring it because when they went to pit road, they couldn't get the hood back down. It was terrible. Anyway, it's time to
you would have never thought taking a little of that to reverse the effects, but there again, never happened to me, and I didn't have to take it long.
Yeah.
My doctor said you got to take this for a couple of weeks just to make sure everything's good to go and you're working.
Yep.
But Benadryl will reverse the effects of it, Joe, if you ever have a problem with that. If you
check our chat line, very interesting scenario put up from Greg McElroy through our buddy LSU Mark about an absolute doomsday scenario for the SEC where some strange things can happen.
So Barry, I looked at some of that, and it reminded me of that time Corso hit you with, what is this, War and Peace?
Yeah.
This scenario is War and Peace.
Yeah. Corso. Oh, we'll get to that in just a moment. Presented by Bud Light, it's Longshore and McKnight. Back in a moment.
Why Hands? At Hands Heating and Air, you get this area's highest ranked service provider with 24-hour repair service, no overtime charges, and their same-day service guarantee. Plus, instead of other companies' 30-day repair warranty, Hands gives you a 3-year repair warranty. Hands Heating and Air is here for you 24/7, 365. And service is not just something they do, it's their way of operating, for you in mind. All of Hands employees are trained to adhere to this standard. They work hard to ensure that this standard is maintained, and they are constantly looking for new ways to better serve you. Call Hands Heating and Air today at 508-5382. That's 508-5382, or find them on the web at 834hands.com.
Some days you hit snooze, but not today. Today you have to go on a run to get burgers for the tailgate. You've got to haul something heavy, a cooler stocked with Bud Light. When you've got beer and football, nothing is hard. Until the other team scores. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus. Copyright 2024 Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hey, this is Barry McKnight from Longshore and McKnight, telling you about our friends at River Region Straw. You're not buying sticks or stems and pine cones. You're buying premium long needle pine straw from River Region Straw. Kenny and his staff have access to the best pine straw in the River Region, full of color, that'll last all season long. They've got locations in Montgomery, Prattville, and Auburn, and no order is too big or too small. From a few bales to an 18-wheeler trailer load, River Region Straw also has seasoned firewood for the cold days and nights ahead. Pickup is available, and your order can be delivered if you like. They can even spread your pine straw if that's what you want to have happen, for sure. Call or text Kenny today, 669-5959. That's 669-5959 for all of your pine straw and firewood needs at River Region Straw.
Already back at it here. We're close to the top of the hour. Thank you for joining us here, Longshore at McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Also, a shout out to our good friends at Stivers Automotive here in the Central Alabama area. Stivers Ford and Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, where price sells cars. Also, Barry, a lot coming in on our chat line today, sponsored by River Region Straw. My little tip has certainly caused a little reaction as well. And our man Tobias earlier today, Barry, cracking on the Big Ten. I'm with you, Tobias. I don't know why the love for the Big Ten in the latest college football playoff bracket that was released last night. Weak schedules, not passing the eye test. I think this all gets settled out before that last one is revealed, and you're going to see some shakeup then.
Somebody texted me and said, "So if you take too much Benadryl, can you counteract the effects with that with a one of those Hims things or something like that?"
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think Benadryl I think can make you a little sleepy and a little tired and a little lethargic. Where the other pills are making you a little hyped up and excitable and things like that. At least for a little while they are, from what I'm told.
Okay, yeah.
A friend told me.
This from LSU Mark back at 7:36 this morning. He says, if Georgia beats Tennessee, Arkansas beats Texas, and Auburn beats Texas A&M, then Bama, LSU, Missouri, and Ole Miss win out. Then you have a Bama versus LSU rematch in the SEC championship game. LSU Mark says, I don't want another whooping from Bama. Now, all of that's not going to happen, Mark. I mean, there's no chance of.
There's a lot of scenarios, Barry, for that to play out.
Yeah. Probably the least likely would be Auburn beating A&M, although I don't think Arkansas beats Texas either.
Well,
and I don't think Missouri wins out, but that's,
here's the way I'm looking at it. I'm taking it week by week, as we all are. But I'm taking let's look at this week. To me, the Tennessee-Georgia game is going to have a lot to say with what's going on, not only in the playoff but the SEC championship.
Okay.
Texas-Arkansas, not so much. I don't think Arkansas is going to be able to get them. Who knows what's going to happen with LSU in Florida? Is LSU done for the year after their third loss? Are they out? Are they just, playing out the string.
That game's
Florida,
in Gainesville, yeah.
Yeah, you wonder about Florida after they got whooped last week and certainly having quarterback issues. Then you get to the next week. Things could get a little clearer there. Alabama and Oklahoma on the road. Auburn, could trip up Texas A&M next weekend. That certainly could be a possibility with that game. But then rivalry week really gets it going, particularly that Texas at Texas A&M game. I think that's got a lot to say, not only about the college football playoff, but also who makes it to Atlanta for the SEC championship game. There again, Alabama's got to win out. Texas A&M going to settle some things. Tennessee, Georgia this weekend as well. And who knows? Vanderbilt hosting Tennessee in rivalry week as well. Who knows there? But
doesn't that speak to a larger issue, though? I mean, is this really the way we want to spend our conversational time in college football in November, John? LSU fan who just took an absolute whooping last week at home by Alabama. LSU's rated number 22 right now. And again, ratings are not seedings. Do we really want to spend time focusing on LSU fans saying, okay, all right, we're 6-3, which in the past, in the golden era, meant Gator Bowl. It meant Houston Bowl. It meant Liberty Bowl. Now, our conversation from LSU fan grasping at straws are like, if Georgia beats Tennessee, Arkansas beats Texas, Auburn beats A&M, then Bama, LSU, Missouri, and Ole Miss went out. Then we'll be back in the championship game of the SEC. And if we win that, then we have a bye in the first round of the playoff. Is that really what the conversation should be in college football in November?
I know it keeps everybody involved, so to speak, but let's face it.
Yeah.
I think most LSU fans know they're out. They're heading to the Gator Bowl. But, we're going to play anyway. We're going to see what happens. But I think there again, I think Tennessee, Georgia this week is going to tell us a lot.
Right.
I don't think we're going to know anything until rivalry weekend, the last regular season games in November. Texas A&M is going to say a lot. I think those are the two games, actually. I think Tennessee, Georgia.
I agree. Yeah.
Texas A&M. Alabama wins out. Who knows? But there again, does Alabama really want to go to the SEC championship game? If you're 10-2,
if you're already in, yeah.
I mean, I'm okay. If you win it, then maybe you get a home. You're hosting a game, okay? Maybe so.
You get a bye. See, that's what Robbie was talking about. Basically, it comes down to this: would you rather have an off week for the SEC championship game or an off week for the playoff?
But how about this, Barry? If you go to the SEC championship game and lose and still get in the playoff, you will not have an off week. You won't.
Who wants that risk? That's exactly right. So, yeah, I just don't see it. Now, if somebody knows Chris the Bammer, there he is. I was about to say, we've been on, got on a little bit late. We've been on for an hour.
Yeah.
Almost. And Chris the Bammer hadn't said spin the wheel yet.
Oh, I think he has.
Has he been distracted?
I think I saw it early. Yeah, it says spin the wheel, Gern. 7:57.
Also, Chris the Bammer says Cialis works, and he puts 2 exclamation points behind him. You need to put like an emoji of a saxophone in the background, or at least
that's what they gave me, Chris. I mean, I haven't been able to test all of those products. They just gave me that.
Easy now.
And I've been very open about my prostate surgery. And folks, men, go get your prostate checked.
Listen to him now.
Go get your I know what you're thinking. No, I'm not going to do it. Not going to happen to me. I'll tell you a quick story. I noticed something in my early 50s. I'm 60 right now. I had some issues when I was in my early 50s, got it checked, got it monitored. We certainly were monitoring it. And then when things got to a point with PSA levels and some biopsies, I said, I'm done. Let's have surgery. And I did it. Great decision. So glad that I did it. I'm cancer-free, have been ever since. And I'm telling you, you got to get it checked. And I've had people in my family, friends of mine, And they get it. They understand you got to go get it checked. And the sooner you get it checked, and the sooner you're on top of it, the better your chances, the better things are for you. So in all seriousness, guys, get that PSA, get that prostate checked, and you'll be glad you did. And like I said, when you get through, they put you on a little stuff like that. Just I want to make sure everything's good to go and working. Is that a good way to put it?
There we go. Yeah. Terrence says, especially for us fellas over 40, especially over 45, go and get checked annually, fellas. Preach, Longshore. I'm the same way. I've not had the issues John has, but you do have to have it checked. JD says the preferred emoji is what is that, an eggplant rather than a saxophone? Okay. All right. Yeah, that makes sense to me. It really,
you guys are killing me.
It really kind of does.
On a roll.
Okay.
That is
we got Chris the Mammer. He did say spin the wheel. We've gone an hour. A little bit later on, CJ Duncan, one of our colleagues from Yellowhammer News, is going to join us as well. Let's see what the wheel has got for us here.
I think Dern's got it loaded up.
Basketball. We've talked a little college football playoff. We may revisit those subjects if they're on the wheel. Let's throw it up on the screen.
Man, look at that wheel today.
Gosh,
jeez.
7 of them. 7.
Our Victory Land 777 topic wheel. It is a spinning, and it's going to land on. I'm not talking about flip flops,
or what we were just talking about with Cialis. Okay, all right. This is flops.
Barry, leading into the college football season, everybody's hyped up, excited. Everything's great. This team's going to be a breakout team, whatever. What college football teams in your mind are flops? Did not live up to their preseason expectations, and they just have kind of gone through the year just flopping around.
Well, the one that stands out for this year and may stand out for the last 20 years is Florida State.
Yep.
You remember this time last year, everybody was, doing the tomahawk chop and all of that, and they're 10-0 and they're 11-0, and they win their league and they win their championship game, and they don't go to the playoffs, and they were screaming and yelling, and they have only won one game since in the calendar year.
Yep, going to be some overhaul.
One game
in Tallahassee, particularly on the offensive side of the ball. I understand could be a total revamp. Who knows? I don't know how they got so bad so quick. I mean, I used that phrase for another team many, many years ago. How have they fallen so far so fast? I think Florida State is overtaking that position right now because they have certainly, the bottom has fallen out. I'm with you there. And as far as I know, Alabama's still going to Tallahassee to open up the 2025 football season. Hadn't heard any difference there. Here's a couple of other ones.
All right.
And I think it flopped. Southern Cal. Lincoln Riley.
That was number 2. Yes, that's number 2. Their first year in the Big Ten, they were supposed to announce their presence with authority. And Southern Cal, not only right now, is 4-5. 4-5. They don't even have a winning record. They're 2-5 in the Big Ten. They've won 2 Big Ten games, and their starting quarterback at the beginning of the year is just about to transfer, Miller Moss. Lincoln Riley, you see this happen a lot. Brian Kelly was supposed to be a big impact maker at LSU, and he's been fine. He's been good, but they haven't been able to reach that level. USC, oh my gosh, we got Lincoln Riley. This is going to be great, and it has not been. That's number 2 on my list.
I just got to throw them out there. I got a couple of more, but I'm going to throw this one out there. I got to say Auburn's a flop. We were expecting more out of Auburn in the year 2 of Hugh Freeze. I think most Auburn people will agree with that. It hadn't gone well. The quarterback position has been a weakness. The record is not impressive. They're probably going to win this week, but I'm not sure they're going to win another game in the regular season after Saturday against Lamo.
Yeah, the expectations weren't necessarily as high as maybe they were for Florida State and for Southern Cal, but it has been a disappointment. There's no question about that, and a lot of it, we're talking incrementally. Auburn will have had losing records in each of the last 4 years, and that's a flop. I mean, that should never happen at a place like Auburn, where you have 4 years in a row. So to me, those, Auburn, again, the expectations weren't as high, so you didn't have that far to fall necessarily. But USC, Florida State,
terrible. And I'm just really kind of talking about preseason hype. I was talking
right.
8-4 with Auburn. I'll admit it.
Well,
I'm guilty. I thought Auburn would be 8-4. Made my predictions back on Memorial Day holiday weekend. A couple of others. I got to be upfront on it. I thought Virginia Tech was going to be better. I was praising them, hyping up the Hokies. They haven't done anything, nor has NC State. Those two teams in the ACC, I was hearing were going to be really good this year. To me,
they are a combined 10-10 this year. Again, they haven't just gone down the cesspool or anything, but they haven't reached expectations as well. Another one somebody texted me just now was Michigan. Michigan is kind of like Troy. They've won the championships. Michigan and Troy were the only two schools that had won their conference back-to-back years heading into this year. But a lot of similarities there in terms of what they lost. Michigan lost their head coach. A lot of their really, really good players graduated out. Same thing with Troy. So if you look at Michigan, it's the same kind of a thing, I think, as what you see from what we were talking about before about Auburn. I'm not sure a lot of people were expecting a ton out of Michigan, and they're 5-5, which is a little bit less than I thought they would be. But nobody thought they would still be in the national championship conversation.
And I thought about Michigan as well. Probably should have put them on my list.
But you knew that without Harbaugh and without Blake Corum and without some of those defensive people, that they were going to take a step back. Those other ones, USC, Florida State.
Yeah.
This was supposed to be a big entrance into permanent relevance.
I can't figure USC out. I mean, Lincoln Riley didn't have a defense at Oklahoma. He still doesn't have one in Los Angeles. I don't get it, Southern Cal. There's no reason for Southern Cal to be suffering. I mean, that is a hotbed of talent. I don't get it. Do not get it.
I do.
Okay, Gern, let's spin that. We got a lot on the wheel today. We got to get busy here. Let's spin that wheel and see what comes up next. Our Victoryland 777 topic wheel is a spinning.
Was that another Cialis reference? Getting busy.
Wow. That gets into mileage rate. Yeah. I'm always trying to come up with some cute little topics to kind of get people guessing. So I went with mileage rate, but this really is more about Troy athletics because Barry had the 10-hour drive yesterday, driving around again today, driving around back tomorrow.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of what is the current mileage rate right now? I wonder.
I think it's 58.5 cents a mile.
Yeah.
58.5 cents, 59, something like that. Yeah. We had Trojan Talk on Monday, which is when the Troy basketball team left out for Fayetteville, where they play tonight. So I wasn't able to ride with the team. So yesterday morning after the show, I took off to Fayetteville, left about 9:15, got here about 7:30, and immediately sat down and had to prepare for the broadcast. That's a long way. That is 10.5 hours. That is a full 10.5 hours. Troy plays basketball tonight at number 6 at Arkansas. Arkansas was number 16 before they lost to Baylor in Dallas last weekend. I'll have it on the Troy Sports Media Network beginning at 6:30 tonight. And then tomorrow doing the show from here in Fayetteville and then heading back to Troy. Getting back late on Thursday, switching out some equipment. It takes a lot more equipment to do a football game than it does to do a basketball game. And Friday, heading to Stivers in Montgomery, do the show with John. And from there, driving straight over to catch a ride to Statesboro, Georgia, where Troy football will play against Georgia Southern in Statesboro Saturday afternoon at 3:00. So, this is what we call the this is what we call the overlap in our business, where football and basketball overlaps each other. So, and again, of course, last weekend I was down in New Orleans. So, You have a lot going on here this time of year.
Yeah, man, ain't no kidding. I was thinking about this, and man, you're burning up the mileage on the highways. As we mentioned earlier before we went on there, at least they've got Interstate 22 for you, because that drive to Fayetteville will be a lot longer without that section of interstate that we have.
Interstate 22 between Birmingham and Memphis is a godsend. Remember when you used to have to go to Starkville and you had to go through Sulligent and Gewin, and sometimes you had to go through Cuba, Alabama, and Meridian or whatever stuff. This is so much better. Plus, there's a stretch. Thank goodness for Walmart and for Tyson Foods, because there used to be a stretch between Little Rock and Fayetteville. Yep. And that was the same way. That was all just 2-lane roads a lot of the way and everything. Now you got a big interstate there, so it is a ton.
So, Barry, I'm going to ask you before Danny from Margaritaville does, did you stop at Buc-ee's on the way?
There was I didn't see a Buc-ee's. I would have stopped if I could have. I would have stopped, but I didn't. Yeah, it's a long way. Yeah, JR, you're right. It feels like I spent half my life driving. That's for sure. Riding,
Woo. No kidding. Got that guy. Got that comfortable Stivers car, though. That gets you anywhere you need to go.
Oh, believe me. My Ford Edge is also a godsend. Love it times two. Yep.
Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to spin the wheel even more. Bottom of the hour, CJ Duncan's going to join us from Yellowhammer News. He's part of their sports crew. We're going to talk with CJ. And then later on, Barry, Mary Ann from Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry is going to join us, because guess what? Today, the big blowout starts at Marguerite's.
How about that? We're
going to tell you all about it.
Yep. It's going to be amazing. It's coming up in association with Yellowhammer News. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Shopping for a budget-friendly, reliable used car or a stunning new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram in Prattville is a process that should always start with your team of professionals on your side. Thanks to years of experience helping others in the local community enjoy premium service, low prices, and access to a wealth of amazing new and used cars, it is safe to say that Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is the name to beat in Prattville. But don't just take my word for it. Experience the Stivers difference for yourself. Prices that will not be beat, a huge inventory, and knowledgeable, helpful sales associates. See why so many happy car and truck buyers shop at Stivers CDJR, where Price sells cars and trucks. Cobbs Ford Road in Prattville.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Located just 8 miles north of Alabama's state capital, Capitol Hill features 3 18-hole championship courses. With more than 1,500 acres of golf and nature, the pure magnitude of this facility is amazing and allows each course to be drastically different from the others. Capitol Hill also features an innovative 360-degree driving range, 400 yards in diameter. Known by avid golfers as one of the most beautiful and challenging stops on the trail, Cambrian Ridge in Greenville lies just 40 miles from Montgomery. It is well worth the ride for any golfer looking for 27 holes of jaw-dropping golf. The greens have been redesigned to accommodate the higher green speed associated with our installation of the latest generation of ultra-dwarf Bermuda grass. Both locations offer fully stocked pro shops with all the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com.
Local banking expertise, the newest innovations and technology, personal attention, genuine hospitality. It's all just part of the Riverbank and Trust difference. They invite you to experience it for yourself. Welcome to banking above and beyond at Riverbank and Trust. Locations throughout the River region, locations throughout the state of Alabama. River Bank and Trust. Presented by Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. A lot going on today. Brent Vincent from Phoenix Physical Therapy joining us in the first hour. Some great information for you to get on top of. Groin injuries. I know it's something that's a little sensitive, but great information about how to rehab those if you experience that painful injury.
Yeah, that's always there's some stigma involved with it. That so and such has a groin injury, but it's considered minor.
Yep.
What?
Oh, it ain't minor.
No,
ain't nothing minor about that.
Ain't no question. Yeah.
Okay.
Minor means it's somebody else. Anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. The wheel. Let's. Man, Chris the Bammer's eating this up. We're spinning that Victoryland 777 topic wheel. Gurn's got it loaded up. Spin it, Gurn. See what we got happening. A lot of fancy colors.
Oh, let's see. Where does it end up? I got a. Oh.
We're not
Is
talking
it
about
ATL?
Yep. We're not talking about Hartsfield, which of course is a very busy airport that most everybody's been through.
Yes.
Like the old saying goes, no matter if you're going to heaven or hell, you're changing in Atlanta, whichever place you may end up. So Atlanta, Bear, we touched on it a little bit, the scenarios of who is going to make it to Atlanta for the SEC championship game right now, today. Tennessee and Texas, I believe, are in the best spots. I'm looking at the SEC rankings. I know A&M is 5-1 in the league. So I guess technically A&M and Texas are your front runners as of today.
It seems as though if everybody, Tennessee stays where they are. Yeah, if Tennessee stays the way they are, it seems like they would play the winner of Texas and Texas A&M. It's been a grind in the SEC, which is one of the reasons why I think the 4 of the top 5 in the college football playoff rankings are from the Big Ten. But, the only teams in the league at this point, and we are just now into mid-November, nobody's undefeated in the league. Nobody. No, nobody who's run the league. And only 3 teams, John, have only 1 loss.
Yeah.
Georgia was, in my mind, not only was Georgia the best team in the league, but they were the best team by far in the league, with the exception of maybe Texas. Georgia's 5-2. Ole Miss is 4-2. Alabama is 4-2 in the league. So those, and Missouri, Eli Drinkwitz, the head coach, said after their win last week, hey, that means we're still in the playoff conversation. The eye test, John. The eye test. This is why I don't trust John's eye test. I mean, I trust my eye test. This is why I don't trust John's eye test, because sometimes John's eye test, I believe in what I see, not in what some pencil protector wearing geek tells me. You know what John sees more than anything else in his eye test? He sees that big block M on the side of their helmet.
The green one. Yes.
He sees the big V on the side of the Vanderbilt helmet. He sees, the MSU or the state on the side of. That's what he sees. That's his eye test. I mean, come on, Barry. Okay, so they've been playing well, but
so what?
Mississippi State, that's his
they would
eye
only extend the offer to let me be on the college football playoff committee. I mean, I'm willing to do it.
The problem is the college football playoff selection committee rankings every week, if Longshore was on the committee, would last about 5 minutes.
Exactly.
The meeting would last about 5 minutes. I mean, you could have a 5-minute phone call rather than get everybody into some big, huge conference room at an airport somewhere and look over. John would say, no.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like, Trump cleaning up Washington and getting all these people out of there. I do the same thing with that committee. We can handle this in 5 minutes over the phone.
Yes.
We don't need to go to Dallas every week and discuss it.
No.
It ain't that big of a deal. Right now, Barry, I think Tennessee's in the catbird seat. Even if they lose to Georgia, they're still got a chance to make it to the SEC championship game because, so many teams will also have 2 losses. Texas and Texas A&M are going to have one of those 2 teams is going to have a second conference loss, and if it's A&M, they'll have 3 losses overall. So Tennessee is in a good spot. Texas A&M, Texas, the winner of that game, will have a lot to say about who makes it to Atlanta. So to me, that Tennessee's in the best position to make it to Atlanta, in my mind. And if they win Saturday in Athens, they're in.
The key to Atlanta is to get the first round bye. I mean, that's the only value in it, because what have I been telling you for all these years about the possibility of expanding the playoffs? Tennessee right now, they're 8-1, good strength of schedule. Their loss was an upset loss. They're 5-1 in the league. How many games you got left? 3? Yeah, they could lose all 3, but they're not. Tennessee knows, unless they're bedwetters all of a sudden, that they're in, you know. John brought this point up. Here you are, 3 games to go. Tennessee's on cruise control right now. They know they're in, you know. I mean, Iamale Ava is hurt, but, you know, big deal. We'll get him rested. We'll sit him maybe a game or something, because we know we're in. People are still conversing about, you know, LSU could get in if Missouri wins out and if Auburn beats Texas A&M. So you still have that conversation. But the coaches, they're thinking, do I really want to play this guy right now when he's not 100% to win this game? I know I'm in. I know I'm in. Let's just get him healthy, maybe take an L. And it doesn't really mean that much to lose this game. It's like John said, you know, they lose to Georgia. They still got all their goals ahead of them. You know?
They do. They certainly do. And I'm not sure they're going to win in Athens, but there again, if they do, they're in, and the winner of the Texas A&M game is in, and it's a done deal, and we're moving on. And now there again, if Georgia wins, and you know, there again could be a little, you know, then Auburn, if they beat A&M, that might happen. That could be an issue. So you never know.
Plainsman Preston said, who did Tennessee lose to? Vandy? No, they play Vandy at the very end of the year. They lost to Arkansas at Arkansas about 5 weeks ago, I think. So, yeah. There you go.
All right, I believe we're going to catch up with CJ Duncan. I think Gurn's going to get a link sent to CJ, and we're going to get him up with us. I know he's scrambling around in between meetings, but we're going to let him hop on with us here for a couple of minutes from Yellowhammer News. Looking forward to that. So let's take a quick time out, and we'll hook up with CJ.
It's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight in Fayetteville, Arkansas. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Enjoy all the food, drink, fun, and winning at Victoryland. An elevated entertainment value, the best overall casino experience, and the highest jackpot payouts makes Victoryland the place to be. Go to Victoryland.com to find out more about their incredible giveaways, daily promotions, and free play opportunities. 777 Casino, simulcast Thoroughbred, and Greyhound Racing are all within a short drive from anywhere in the Southeast. Victoryland, I-85, exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. At Victoryland, you can be a winner too.
Some days you hit snooze, but not today. Today you have to go on a run to get burgers for the tailgate. You've got to haul something heavy, a cooler stocked with Bud Light. When you've got beer and football, nothing is hard. Until the other team scores. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus, copyright 2024, Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Dixie Electric Plumbing and Air rallies for you. No matter the problem, Dixie will tackle it. Their licensed and trusted electricians, plumbers, air and garage door technicians are ready to win for you. From toilets to garbage disposals, circuit breakers to HVAC systems, Dixie never fumbles. Don't throw away your hard-earned money on second-string contracting companies. Score big with Dixie. After all, they are your biggest fan. Visit calldixie.com or dial them up locally at 262-2946.
The Destin Connection Seafood Market offers the freshest seafood direct from the Gulf of Mexico with deliveries daily. Snapper, grouper, pompano, flounder, copia, along with medium, large, and jumbo shrimp, hand-picked crab meat, and chucked oysters. They can even cook your order for easy, quick pickup. The Destin Connection can make a po' boy with any of their seafood items that folks in New Orleans rave about. Go by and see them at 3750 Norman Bridge Road or call 288-4272 for pickup orders.
Alrighty, welcome back in, everybody. Glad you're with us here today on this Wednesday. And Barry, joining us now is our friend from Yellowhammer News, CJ Duncan. CJ, thanks for joining us today. Hope you're doing well.
John, Barry, thanks for having me today.
It is great to hear you and to get a chance to catch up with you. We remember well your career with Vanderbilt, of course, time in the NFL as well. A lot of people remember you down at St. James and everything. And I'm telling you, I am loving the podcast, CJ.
Thank you. No, this has been such a blast to get into this media world. Hopefully I can learn a couple things from you too. But it's been a lot of fun. I watched Vanderbilt play so well this year. It makes me miss being out there, but I'm just proud to see those guys playing well, doing their thing. Unfortunately, went down this weekend, but nonetheless, it's been a good season.
CJ, just so our viewers and listeners are up to date, as Barry mentioned, you played high school ball here in Montgomery. You went on to Vanderbilt. Tell our viewers and listeners about your career with the Commodores. What years were you there?
So I was at Vanderbilt from 2013 to 2017. I was recruited by Coach James Franklin. Spent a year with him and then went through the transition period with Coach Derek Mason. Was very fortunate to be a 3-year starter there, captain on the team, led the team in receptions for a few years as well. So really enjoyed my experience at Vanderbilt and still support to this day.
Yeah, I love that part of it. You're still very active in all of that and still got a lot of great takes on it. Your last year, 2017, right? And you had such a productive career. How much in 7 years has college football changed from a player perspective, CJ?
It's changed tremendously. I think that as far as on the field is concerned, a lot of it is the same. There is still the aspect of the SEC being the most competitive conference, and you can't sleepwalk into any stadium. You've got to bring your A game every year. But there is this aspect of each year you can see new faces with the transfer portal and with NIL and things of that nature. It does get a little bit harder in today's world to develop that chemistry and to develop that consistency that you need to win and win over time. So I think that part of it is turning out to be pretty difficult for not only players but coaches as well. But as far as the on-field competition aspect of it, I think it's still alive and well here in our conference.
I think I know what one of your answers is going to be to this question, but the biggest surprises to you, CJ, in college football season so far, I got to think Vanderbilt's one of them, no doubt about it, already bowl eligible. I guess talk a little bit about their success this year and then some other teams that have really kind of surprised you that have had maybe better seasons up to this point than you expected.
Well, you know what? Yes, the Vanderbilt Commodores have they've played extremely well, and I hate to use the word surprise because I always knew that we were capable of being competitive in this conference. I've seen it happen, especially when I was there. 2013, I believe we won 9 games, and the year prior to me getting there was a 10-win season as well. So I knew that Vanderbilt had the potential to do such things, but to beat Alabama and to beat Auburn in I will say that is a big surprise, and I think we're not done yet. Hopefully we can sneak up on the LSU Tigers here at the end of the year, and also, when you play a rivalry game against Tennessee, you never know what can happen. It doesn't matter how good one team is or how bad the other is. Once they roll the ball out, anything can happen in a rivalry weekend. But across the SEC, I feel like things have kind of turned out the way I anticipated them to turn out. One team, I guess, overall in the country would be the Colorado Buffs. I kind of wrote them off after the Nebraska game. I think they only won 4 games last year, but to see the level of play that they're at right now, I can say that I'm pretty surprised that they are on such a hot streak, and it feels as if they have a really good chance to win the Big 12 this year and make a playoff.
I'm interested in the other side of things as well. Everybody knows how much of a cliff Florida State has fallen off of. I think in this day of NIL and roster change and transfer portal, you're going to see those types of precipitous falls. We're going to see teams get better quickly, CJ. Do you think you'll also see, like a Florida State, teams just bottom out quickly? Is that a possibility?
Yes, and I think that goes back to team chemistry. I think it goes back you can get in depth about just lingo and philosophy and culture and all those type of things. When you have kind of a carousel of players and coaches coming in and out, you're going to lose some of the consistency, some of that culture that you are normally seeing from these kind of blue blood programs, including Florida State. I think a lot of people have been hard on Kalen DeBoer this season just based on, what Alabama's used to, but it can also be a lot worse than what it is with so much transition going on in Tuscaloosa. So for him to, come into this season right now, only 2 losses, could potentially have only 2 losses on the season and still make a playoff. I think it's a tremendous job on his part, because you could also see a Florida State situation happen very quickly.
So, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty here. CJ, Barry and I were talking earlier today about the SEC championship game in Atlanta, how that's stacking up right now. It looks like Tennessee, Texas A&M are in the best spot, or the winner of the Texas A&M game, maybe Tennessee, Georgia, who plays Tennessee this week. Still a lot of exciting football left. But one of the big topics we've also talked about this week, CJ, is if Alabama wins out in the regular season to finish 10-2, why would they want to go to Atlanta to play in an SEC championship game and risk losing to be 10-3? You're in a better position at 10-2 than you are 10-3 in my mind in the playoff.
I think you're exactly right. At the end of the season, it's really about who's healthy and who's peaking at the right time. Mm-hmm. Playing an extra game puts that at risk. And so I think they would rather see other teams duke it out and they be one of the teams that slip on in with all their health and with all their players ready to go.
I got to say this before we go, and we appreciate the time. The podcast has been really high quality, has been really well received. You had a podcast guest, I guess, a couple of weeks ago that, just knocked it out of the park, CJ. Good stuff. Tell us a little bit about the podcast and your hopes for it, what you hope to present in your podcast, and how well it's gone so far.
Well, you know what? There was really no expectations walking into this situation. Paul Shashi has been a good friend of mine for a while. What a lot of people don't know is we actually went to Montgomery Academy together at one point before I transferred over to St. James. So it's been a blast. It's been really something that I've leaned on in my off time and look forward to doing. Just having, some of my closest friends come on and just talk ball. We would be doing it anyway. We just put a camera in front of our faces now to allow everyone else to hear what we're talking about. But we kind of went into it thinking we were going to talk about the games, and whether it's the previous games or the games upcoming, trying to give predictions here and there, see how close we get to coming right. But it's also kind of turned into an opportunity for former guys to get a little light shown on them and give them their flowers for all the hard work they put in to the sport that they play, but also for the fans to be able to see them again. I think a lot of guys, over time get forgotten, but they've done so many great things for this state and for their individual schools. So I hope to just bring a little light to those guys and let them know we still love them and that they're still important to us.
And you can check those podcasts out at yellowhammernews.com. They drop weekly. Is that correct, CJ?
That's correct. We're trying to keep up, but we try to do it weekly, yes.
Hey, it's a wonderful opportunity for us to be associated with Yellowhammer News, and a wonderful chance to sit and visit with you and catch up with you. Thanks for the time, CJ.
Barry, John, thanks so much for having me on, and good luck to you all as y'all continue your journey.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that. Awesome. Yes, sir. CJ Duncan, part of Yellowhammer News, joining us here today. Barry, I think that podcast you were referencing, I think Rhoda Vaughn was scheduled, but she had to back out. And so they just found somebody else to fill in for him.
It was epic. Spot. Epic stuff. Yeah. Great to have him on our City of Montgomery guest hotline. Yellowhammer News, CJ Duncan's great stuff. We'll take a break right here. Yep. In cooperation with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Dixie Electric Plumbing and Air has teamed up for the 4th year with the Food Bank of East Alabama and Montgomery Area Food Bank in an effort to reduce the high percentage of food insecurity within the Montgomery and Auburn communities. For every new Dixie Cares Plan membership that is purchased, Dixie will be donating 7 meals to partnered food banks. Last year alone, Dixie donated 13,356 meals. Our goal for 2024 is 15,000. Thank you for choosing Dixie and for helping us make a difference within our community.
Shopping for a budget-friendly, reliable used car, or maybe a stunning new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram? Well, in Prattville, it's always a process that starts with the team of professionals from Stiver CDJR. Thanks to years of experience helping others in the local community enjoy premium service, low prices, and access to a wealth of amazing new and used cars, it's safe to say that Stiver's Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram is the name to beat in Prattville. But hey, just don't take my word for it. Experience the Stiver's difference for yourself. Prices that will not be beat, a huge inventory, and knowledgeable, helpful sales associates. See why so many happy car and truck buyers shop at Stiver's CDJR, where price sells cars and trucks on Cobbs Ford Road in Prattville.
All guests of Longshore McKnight appear on the City of Montgomery guest hotline. Check out the most interesting and informed personalities in sports covering Auburn, Alabama, Troy, ASU, and all the major teams from across the country. John and Barry have the best guests brought to you by the City of Montgomery. To find out everything you need to know that is going on in the capital city, check out montgomeryal.gov. That's montgomeryal.gov, the capital of dreams.
All right, we're back at it here on this Wednesday. About 15 minutes to the top of the hour. Still got some topics on that Victoryland 777 topic wheel. Thanks again, once again to CJ Duncan from Yellowhammer News joining us here this morning. I see the topic wheel is in one of our windows, and we got some topics to spin. So what do you say, Barry? We take a big old spin of that wheel.
Trying to read these as we go through here and see what we got. All right.
Any guesses?
PT Cowboy.
PT Cowboy. Barry, I'm hearing it. Was watching a little of Colin yesterday during lunch. I'll be watching it today when Clatt comes on. So no text or calls during that period.
Yep.
Deion Sanders to the Dallas Cowboys. I'm hearing it. What do you think?
You and I were talking the other day. Number one, does Dallas have a coaching opening?
Oh,
is there a? Let's see. Yeah. At the moment, no. Is that the best thing? Is that the best thing for ticket sales and to get the fans motivated? Yes. Is that the best thing for the program?
Well,
probably not.
I don't think it get any worse. Things are pretty bad in Dallas, and I'm loving every minute of it. I'll be the first to tell you.
Yeah,
I love it.
John's not sitting here thinking, what ideas can I come up with to help the Cowboys? We were talking about it the other day whenever Dennis Allen got let go by the Saints.
Yeah.
But if I'm Deion, it's a package deal.
Deion played for Dallas.
Yes.
So there's
for a while.
History there.
Yeah. He lives, I think he still lives in Texas.
Yeah.
Or he did, he lives in Boulder now, but he moved from Texas to take the Jackson State job. He was I forget where he was in Texas. He was in the Dallas area. So he's been active there. But but you'd also have to take his son, one of them, maybe both. I just think if the Saints can get a high draft pick, their quarterback is like 36.
Sure.
Their head coach is interim Darren Rizzi, who I had never heard of in my life
either.
until he got the job.
Yep.
I just think it's a better fit for New Orleans for him.
Well, as you just mentioned, though, are you doing it just for,
to play better football?
Probably not. I don't think Deion's helping the Saints play better football because they got an old roster and they got a cap problem. But Deion gets you in more 3:00 Sunday afternoon windows, get you on Monday night, get you on Sunday night just because of Deion. I get it. Does Deion want to come into a situation where he's got to rebuild? And I think with Dallas, there's some rebuilding going on there, no doubt. I think they got quarterback issues. They've only got really one good receiver in CD Lamb. But I think Dallas, they're already getting that 3:00 window in those Monday and Sunday night games. You bring Deion in there, they're going to probably be on Monday night every week. I mean, obviously not realistically, but they're going to be on the prime TV windows as much as possible with Deion Sanders on the sidelines.
They were on the prime TV window over the weekend, and they got beat, 38-6, 34-6?
Yep.
I don't know. Like Ty said, how about Micah Parsons throwing his coach under the bus? I haven't heard anything like that in my life. There's a couple of, I don't know if it's going to be on the topic wheel. I was trying to read it as it went around. But there's a couple of instances of throwing people under the bus. Micah Parsons, he was telling some radio station he was on that everybody on that Dallas Cowboys team works harder than Mike McCarthy has ever worked in his life.
Whoa.
So he's about tired of all that. And also, how about this from the Georgia Ole Miss game, John? Former Alabama player transferred to Georgia. He's a DB named Jake Pope. Jake and Georgia got clocked at Ole Miss. They're storming the field and everything. Turns out his family came to visit with him. And he didn't know they were there and everything. They stormed the field too, and he saw them, and they were jumping up and down. He's in his Georgia uniform, and he's smiling and bouncing around and everything because his family's there, and somebody caught it. And, of course, it went viral. Like, what in the world is Jake Pope doing celebrating after his Georgia Bulldogs just got beat by 28 against Ole Miss? Somebody asked Kirby that, and again, nobody knew it was his family, and it was a surprise, and he was overjoyed and all that or whatever. It's not a good look. I get it.
Yeah, and Kirby called the kid an
Kirby
idiot.
Smart about that. He said, what do you think about this clip, Kirby? And he says, what an idiot.
Hey, at least he's being upfront about it.
That is throwing somebody under the bus, basic 101 right there. But number two, how about all those guys he's got on his team that have been caught speeding and have been reckless endangerment? And, the wide receiver who was accused of hitting his girlfriend, he ever call any of them an idiot on an interview?
Good point.
No. It's the guy that's happy to see us. What an idiot. You talk about throwing somebody on the bus. I'm no quitter, but if I'm Jake Pope, I am knocking on Kirby's door at the early, and you're going to see me, Coach. Come on now. What about all those drunk drivers and those speeders and the habitual offenders and stuff? You ain't called them that.
I think after the loss, Kirby still probably a little unhappy, caught him at a bad time. I tell you who we're catching at a great time, Barry, is Marianne at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry. I mentioned it earlier. The big blowout at Marguerite's begins today. Marianne is here to tell us all about it. What is happening during the pre-Thanksgiving blowout, Marianne?
Hey, good morning, guys.
Good morning. Good morning.
Well, today starts our holiday pre-Thanksgiving blowout. It's great. We only have one sale a year, but this is our pre-Thanksgiving blowout. We have 1 carat diamond solitaires that are for $4.99. We have diamond tennis bracelets for $16.50. We have our really, really popular baby cross necklace in 14 karat white or yellow gold with Marguerite's quality diamonds. And it's on sale for $299. Let me think of what else. There's so many different things.
Oh my gosh.
We offer holiday wrapping. And of course, we offer layaway until Christmas. So if you find something like the diamond tennis bracelet for $1,650, if you really, don't want to pay for all of it now or don't want to let your special someone know about it, like if they get an alert on their credit card or something like that, we can make sure to have that knocked out for you with our layaway until Christmas. We have several other doorbusters. We have diamond stud earrings that are $99, natural diamond studs. We have lab created half carat diamond studs that are on special. So many different things, you name it. Solitaire diamond station bracelets for $99, because Lyle always likes to run a great $99 special.
Right.
So you name it, we've got it. In every item in the case has like a crazy, I'm trying to remember what Lyle calls it, wackoo crazy.
Well, I was good. You can tell Lyle wrote this copy because it says every item in the store, crazy, wacky, blowout price. That's got Lyle written all over it.
That is definitely Lyle Fields. Every item in the case has a great price, and we look in our computers to find it. There's no switcheroo, and 60% off all diamond purchases. So that's loose diamonds, 60% off every loose diamond that's in our safe. So if you're thinking of proposing or upgrading or having a diamond solitaire necklace, now is the time because it's 60% off.
Marianne, you're my go-to for all of my Christmas and all of my gift-giving opportunities. I know a lot of guys, they're kind of overwhelmed. I'm telling you, the value she's talking about, just to give you some perspective, those are incredible values. But it's a little bit intimidating when I don't know what a baby diamond bracelet is or a tennis bracelet, all that kind of stuff. This is what really helps me out, Marianne, is your expertise and the expertise of the entire staff at Marguerite's. You guys can walk us through the entire thing, even if we don't know the first thing about the jewelry business.
Exactly. What I say is the hardest thing you have to do is you have to walk through the door. That's the last thing you have to do. Tell me how many gifts you need to give and give me an idea of what kind of price points you want to spend, and I'll take it from there. So easy enough. I'll let you know what is in style or what. I might ask for like a picture of your significant other. I've been doing this since 2008, and goodness, lots of other coworkers that have been here for a really long time too. So again, we can take it from there, find the perfect gift, and make it easy. Wrap it up for you.
The pre-Thanksgiving blowout begins today at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry, 8163 Vaughn Road in Pepper Tree. It lasts until the end of the month, November the 30th. Layaways are available. And Marianne, you're open 7 days a week, so let our viewers and listeners know your hours of operation.
Okay, so we're open from 10 to 6:30 Monday through Friday. We've extended those hours. We're open from 10 to 5 on Saturday and noon to 5 on Sunday. So 7 days a week. Hardest thing you have to do is walk through the door. We'll take it from there.
Walk through the door at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry, Pepper Tree Center, next to Chappie's Deli, near the Vaughn Taylor Road intersection, Montgomery, Alabama. Always wonderful to see you, Marianne. Take care.
Hey, you guys have a great rest of the day.
You too, Marianne. Thank you so much. Great stuff, Barry. You know it's a big deal when Lyle's using phrases like crazy, wacky blowout sale.
Yeah, and it is crazy, and it is wacky, and it is a blowout sale at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry. Go by and see him today. Marianne certainly is able to help you, so are any of the people over there. Let's go to the wheel one or two more times. Maybe we can clear this out. What do you say?
Maybe we can. Let's spin that wheel, and we got 3 left. Let's see what we got. Gurn, spin it. Oh, yeah, 3 to go, and it is on bracket. Barry, the college football playoff bracket was released yesterday, and I wanted to look at it in bracket form. Gerd has pulled it up there for us so you can see if the games were this weekend, what we would have. And I got to tell you, I got a little envy here. I didn't like seeing this. Notre Dame at Tennessee. Jealous. Don't like that.
Yeah. The winner will play Oregon. See, again, bear in mind, for instance, in the latest college football playoff rankings that were released last night, BYU is number 6. John, here they would be a number 3 seed because they would be projected to win the Big 12 and they'd get a first round bye.
I mean,
so people are asking about that. And still, even Miami.
Isn't Texas's schedule easy enough already? And they get BYU in their first game?
Yeah.
Give me a break.
It's Miami, even with the loss to Georgia Tech, they're still projected to win the ACC. So, yeah, the first round matchups on campus, Knoxville for the Fighting Irish.
Oh, that hurts.
Columbus, Ohio State, and Boise State. Again, John's eye test would tell you, I don't know how Boise State plays, but my eyes go right to that big Bronco on the side of their head.
Yeah,
Penn State hosting Ole Miss, Alabama at Indiana. Those are your first round games. The bottom two, I'm telling you, those are the best games.
Yeah.
Ole Miss at Penn State would be epic.
Huge.
Alabama at Indiana, I'm telling you, Indiana wins that game. Kirk Cignetti gets his name on the stadium the next year.
Barry, did Ole Miss beat Penn State in a bowl game last year?
I don't know if it was last year, but I know they played.
Or was it Missouri that beat Penn State? I'm trying to think.
I think it was Missouri. I don't remember.
Both had big bowl game wins. And I would say Ole Miss beat Penn State in Atlanta last year, but I got to look that up. But I wanted to see it kind of in schedule form, bracket form, wherever. Tennessee hosting Notre Dame just kills me. Oh, I just can't take that.
Well, let's get a ruling. Let's get a ruling here before we go to back to the wheel here from Chris the Bammer at 8:55. He said YOLO is 10 minutes. We did have a technical problem. Yeah, we give you 10 minutes. We've got a running clock on on how long the program is, and we're shooting for 2 hours, so we'll give you 10 minutes. Absolutely.
Here's our bracket one more
here we
time.
go. Yeah,
and just to make sure. And I jumped the gun on Brigham Young. They've actually got to beat the winner of the Penn State Ole Miss matchup, which I'm not sure they can. So the winner, I think Texas is going to end up playing probably. I'm going to go Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss could beat Penn State. So
so there you go.
I can handle that, but I don't. And one thing, and it's going to happen. You're going to have a lot of rematches, and you're going to have a lot of conference teams playing one another. There again, if the playoff was this weekend, Alabama beats Indiana. They're playing in Austin against Texas. Now, they didn't play in the regular season, but it is a conference opponent.
I like it.
Is there anything else that would be a conference opponent?
There would not be a rematch. Yeah. No, not a rematch there. So there you go. All right. Robbie, by the way, Robbie's just now joining us. He says Georgia deserved to drop, but not 10 spots. They have played the number one toughest schedule in the country. Robbie, you lose by how you lost to Ole Miss. I mean, if they lost by a late field goal, drop them, 4 maybe, 3?
Yeah.
But you lose the way they lost, and they dropped to 12. They're a 2-loss team now. They have played the number one toughest schedule in America.
Yep.
Yeah, and they've lost.
Overrated.
They're still in,
Yep.
I don't know. Try and tell Carson Beck to stop throwing it to the other team.
And I will tell you this, Robbie, I'll give you that. From schedule strength, Georgia's probably up there at number one or close to it. They got a pretty tough road, no doubt. Went to Texas, went to Oxford, went to Tuscaloosa. I get it. Got Tennessee coming in this week. Tough, probably the toughest schedule I can ever recall Georgia having in my lifetime.
I don't disagree. I can go along with that for sure.
But the way they lost in Oxford, can't overlook that.
To a 2-loss team. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yep. So Robbie's coming a little late today. And Chris wants his money's worth. What else we got here that I need to maybe take a look at here? I guess we're through with all the Cialis and Viagra jokes. Yeah, got those out of the way, I think. Looking at the River Region Straw chat line. Okay, all right, Gern, spin it. Let's see what we got. Only 2 to go, and where will it land? Oh, wow.
TKO.
Yeah.
No idea.
Auburn basketball.
Oh, okay. All right. See, I never know what these
TKO.
are ahead of time. So
Yeah, TKO.
yeah.
We've heard a little bit about it, but we don't know a lot. But Barry, tonight Auburn is hosting Nick Saban's alma mater at not Beard Eves, at Neville Arena.
Yep. That's okay. It's one of the easy ones on their pre-conference schedule. Troy played Kent State last year in Troy and beat them by like 13 or something. Kent State's 2-0 now. They play Auburn at 7:00 at Neville Arena tonight. And for Auburn, it's a chance to kind of catch their breath, get right. It can be a bit of a look ahead game, I suppose. They've got Kent State after the win against Houston, which was an incredible win. Auburn's going to be really good, y'all. That freshman Todd Pettiford is something. That guy can play. But then they have North Alabama on Monday. So this is kind of an easy week. Then they play Iowa State, Duke, later on Ohio State, Purdue, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, it's Kent State, I think they're like a 22.5-point favorite over the Golden Flashes. So, they'll win it. This is when you'll get to see walk on from the end of the bench, get some playing time or something like that. You should have another sellout crowd at Neville Arena.
Well, I would expect so. It'll be interesting to see if the two guys that were involved in that little ruckus, they call it, we'll see any time on the floor tonight. That will be interesting to see as well.
If it was me, I say no. I say no for a good little while. Good long while.
Elsewhere in the SEC, Cal is at Vanderbilt, Montana at Tennessee, Troy at Arkansas. Those are your SEC teams in action tonight. Alabama doesn't hit the floor until Friday. They are at number 13, Purdue, on Friday night. That's on Peacock. How do I find that? What is Peacock?
Peacock is like the NBC streaming service. I don't know why they've got that one. Purdue, of course, played for the national championship last year, lost a lot from that team, but they're still 3-0. Alabama number 2, Purdue number 13. Alabama was not totally impressive against McNeese State. They weren't just rock your socks off against Arkansas State. But golly, they're talented. If they play a little bit of defense, I like their chances against Purdue.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
That should be good. That should be a good one. I'm looking forward to. A lot of good basketball action. How many times in the last 30 years have we talked about basketball to the extent we've talked about it in the last month? Folks are excited about hoops in the state. Got some really good basketball teams. Going to be fun. You can mix in some round ball with football at the same time.
Yep.
Barry, it used to drive me crazy. Look, Greg Byrne might not be listening to me, but obviously Nate Oates is, because nothing there's a lot of things that irk me. But when it comes to basketball scheduling, I just was going, why are you even playing these games? Why do you start the season in mid-November? Nobody cares. You're playing athletes in action and a bunch of crap teams. I don't know why I always pick on athletes
in action, yeah.
That's who they played back when I was a kid. Give me something to sink my teeth into. If you want us to get into basketball, give us some good games. And Auburn, Alabama, they're playing good opposition in the month of November and December. They're mixing in a couple of crap teams. I get it. But at least they're playing a good schedule where the fans can get interested.
And when they lose, they can gripe and moan and fire the coach, which he knows, by the way. So there you go.
If you lose 2 minutes, here's last year's a perfect example. And maybe I jumped the gun. But Alabama had a tough opening schedule. They were losing. We're going, whoa, wait a minute here. Hold on a second. We're losing way too many. And then you get to March. Whoa, hey, wow, made the Final Four? Okay. I guess that those losses in December weren't that big of a deal anymore.
Let's wrap up the wheel and get to
all right. Let's see what's last on the wheel. Spin it anyway for just to make it official, like kicking that extra point when you've already won the game. Let's see here. Oh, GOTW stands for Game of
the
Week.
Week. All right.
Now, I'm looking at the SEC schedule. Actually looking at the whole schedule
in football
of college football.
All right.
There just aren't a lot of great games this week, and I know we had some games last night. We failed to give you the updates of what happened in college football on a Tuesday night. There were actually 3 games last night.
Yep, that is true. Let's see. Last night it was all the way down. Yeah, Bowling Green beats Western Michigan 31-13. Toledo over Central Michigan 37-10. And in overtime, Buffalo 51, Ball State 48.
Hello.
It was in overtime. Buffalo wins it by 3, but Ball State covered the 3.5.
Yes, they did.
For time in a game with 99 points. They got in by a half point.
How do they know? How do they know? All right, so these aren't games of the week in my mind, but Barry, there are 3 games tonight in college football.
Okay, all right. You've got
State at Miami of Ohio on ESPNU.
You've
Akron
got Eastern
at Northern
Michigan.
Illinois.
Yep. Akron at Northern Illinois. That's at 6 on the CBS Sports Network. And Eastern Michigan at Ohio. It's all that MAC. Does that really, really help the MAC? I mean, they'll play any day of the week.
They will. I guess they'll take it when they can get it. Now, Northern Illinois did beat Notre Dame, just letting you know.
And they're 5-4 overall.
Yeah. So back to the game of the week. Barry, in my mind, the game of the week, I got to say, is Tennessee at Georgia Saturday night. Hey, Lane, Georgia's playing at night again. Tennessee's playing at night again. You're playing at 11 a.m. again.
It's interesting here. There have been some question about whether Iamaleava will play. I think they say he will. How effective will he be at quarterback for Tennessee with the injury? Georgia's a 10-point favorite.
Oh, I know. We're going to get into that a little bit more in depth tomorrow and Friday because I wonder about that as well.
Yeah.
It's a big number. But that is Tennessee not for real? Or people, I mean, okay, maybe some injuries. I get it. But
it's in Athens. Their quarterback's not 100%. But then again, Georgia.
I'm not sure their quarterback's 100%.
Between the years. So who knows? Yeah.
Who knows about that? But game of the week, I got to say, am I missing something? Is there something else that maybe is in the same level as Tennessee, Georgia on Saturday?
Missouri, South Carolina, 2 ranked teams. That is the only other game with 2 ranked teams playing each other.
Let me tell you, look, that's what the networks don't like. Weekends like this, they're going, look, we're paying a ton of money. We don't have a lot of inventory this week. Don't give me Bama Mercer. Don't give me Auburn Lamo. Don't give me all these other games. I'm telling you, we can't get to 9 conference games quick enough.
This is
one
what
more year, then we're going to have it.
This is what sticks in ABC's craw. Again, they're paying billions and millions and millions of dollars. They've got a doubleheader. Their second game is Tennessee, Georgia from Athens. Good game, really good game. Game of the week, 6:30. The lead-in game to that, LSU in Florida.
Oh.
Two high-profile clubs, but guess what? They are a combined 10-8 this year. 10-8. And it's November, and they got to carry it.
8.
They're gonna give a phone call to Sankey and say, "Hey, look, man,
you got to help us.
We need a little more inventory if you're expecting us to play to expose a 10-8 game. 2 teams combined 10-8 in November. You got to start giving us some better options than this. That means more games.
More games, got to have them. Barry, what time do the Trojans tip tonight?
Yep, I am in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Troy and Arkansas play tonight, 7:00, and it's certainly looking forward to it. We're on the air beginning at 6:30 with our radio broadcast. It's going to be on the SEC Network Plus. Troy is 2-0. Arkansas in their 3rd game now under John Calipari is 1-1 on the season. And then tomorrow, doing the show, we'll recap it here from Fayetteville and get ready for for the weekend, where Troy plays at Georgia Southern in football Saturday afternoons. Busy time, John.
Yeah, it is a busy time, and we're glad that you make us part of your busy day.
Yep.
Of course, we're live every weekday morning, 7 to 9. It's streamed all day long, so you can watch us and consume our content at your convenience. And that's what's so great about it. Check it out on Spotify as well. And at Yellowhammer News, there's a post each and every afternoon about Longshore and McKnight as well. So check it out at yellowhammernews.com.
Yep, in cooperation with Yellowhammer News. He's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.